Thanks for joining me. I'm just a little bit crooked there, so I was just going to fix my matter tiny bit on my camera. A little bit of self-promotion before we continue with the crafting this morning. I just wanted to mention to you all about the Start with Savings offer that Stampin' Up are offering at the moment. It is a pretty good deal actually. The starter kit, which is always really good value for people wanting to start up with Stampin' Up, is normally $235 worth of product of your choice for $169 delivered. This is in Australian dollars, of course. But for the month of November, that price has reduced to 130 Australian dollars. So basically, you can join Stampin' Up, just pick $235 worth of product of your choice. So there's no dictated starter kit. You don't have to pick certain things, and you just pay $130. And the best thing, another good thing about that is that you get free delivery on that. So that's probably another $6, $7, $8 saved on top of that, and you get a 20% ongoing discount for as long as you stay an active demonstrator. And even if you don't buy anything else, that discount is valid right to the end of March if you join in November. Okay, so hopefully that was clear, but if you'd like more details, the take-home story is $235 worth of product for $130. So if you take that away, nothing else, that's probably the take-home message out of that little thing. Also, I just wanted to advertise my November class by mail. So here are the 3 designs for my November, my current class by mail. This is my product class. So you will actually need a stamp set or bundle if you want to do these cards. And obviously I usually have a discount if you buy those as part of the class. But if you already have the bundle or the stamp set, I can just provide the card kits. So details of that are also on my Facebook page, and again, only available to Australian residents. So those are my 3 classes. Oh, it's the, I should say what stamp set it is. I'm featuring the Painted Christmas Suite. I think this is particularly the Christmas seasons bundle. So anyway, I'll have to check that one. But as I say, details are on my my Facebook page if you're interested in that one. This one here, I just point out, is a gift card holder. So it's just a nice little gift card holder, and the gift card would fit down in there like that. Okay, so you get, in the standard class, you get everything you need to make for 2 each of those designs. So 6 cards all up. Okay, I've left my window open here and people are walking through and looking in. So I've got audiences inside and outside. So I'll just check that my volume's okay, because if it's not, okay, I haven't got my headphones on, so it's picking it up through. Okay, so that's fine. It should be better now. If that was a little bit difficult for you, because I didn't actually have my headphone on, it was sitting over on the desk. So hopefully that's a little bit louder now. Okay, so hopefully you heard some of that. I don't want to have to go through it all again, but anyway, so let's start crafting, or I'll probably lose you as well as my outside audience. Today we're using the Eden's Garden collection. I'm going to specifically use the Eden Garden stamp set and the Eden dies. These are actually a pre-release from the next mini catalogue, which comes out in January for customers. But it's actually available as a pre-order or a sneak peek to everyone now from the 2nd of November. And the good thing about buying it at the moment, if you buy it as part of the collection, you get this beautiful designer series paper, which we're going to have a look at a couple of those today, and some glorious gems, which we're also going to look at today as well. So I can't see any comments at the moment, but I'm sort of watching. So if you jump on, say hello, say where you're from. If it's your first time watching, please tell me as well. I'd love to see my audience grow. Anyway, so we're going to be using that, and I'm going to do 2 cards, and I'm going to do 2 fun fold or fancy fold cards. It depends what you're brought up with and what term you use. One of them I'm actually making for a friend's birthday, so it's nothing nicer than to make a card with a actual person involved. So I'm making a double a Dutch double gate fold card is the first one, which is this little one here. So that's, I've made those designs before. And the double box, which is a new one for me, and I got the measurements from the very talented Gail Ellis from mainland Australia. So thank you, Gail. If you ever see my videos, which I'd be more than honoured if you did. Yes, but I think Gail's a little bit too busy to watch a little demo from southern Tasmania. So this is the first card. As I say, it's what they call a Dutch double gate fold. So this is like a double gate here. It's got two little openings. It's quite cute. And then this top flap that comes down and overlaps the little gates a wee bit. And when it sits up, those little gates sort of open and sort of latch in there, and they sort of give it like a little, it's a bit hard to tell from the angle you're at, you guys. Give it like a little sort of, makes it look like you've got a little house happening there, but it sort of adds to the 3D nature of this card. So this is the one that I'm going to use today. And this, as I say, uses one of the paper from the wonderful Eden collection. And I've just seen Nicole jump on. Hey, Nicole. Nicole just joined my team, so I'm really, really happy to see you on this morning. So there should be other chatty stampers on, or other demos in our circle. So if you're a chatty stamper, just introduce yourself to Nicole, who's just jumped on. Okay, and if Elizabeth jumps on, Elizabeth is one of my team. It's her birthday today. And if Maureen jumps on, it was her birthday 2 days ago, something like that. It's a good time for birthdays, obviously. Okay, so let's stop with that and we'll get crafting. So what I have to make this little number is, I actually do my Dutch gate fold cards the cheating way, because you can see a lot of patterns out there on Pinterest where they say to use basically you need a 12 by 12 piece of cardstock to start with. And I don't have 12 by 12 cardstock. I find it a bit cumbersome, so I only have A4 cardstock. So my way of doing it, you can do it with one sheet of A4 cardstock to make the card base. Obviously you need a little bit more, and you don't need that huge 30 centimetre or 12-inch square cardstock. So basically what I've got is two pieces of, and this is soft succulent cardstock. The first one is, and I've got to remind myself, 10 inches by 4 inches. Yeah, 10 inches by 4 inches, and it's scored, if you put it that way, scored at 4 inches. So from one end it's scored at 4 inches. So that gives us that top flap part of our card. Now, when I say it's 4 inches wide, initially measure it at 4 inches, but then pop along with your trimmer and take about 1/8 of an inch off. So really, I suppose I've gone around that the wrong way, or even not, maybe 1/16 of an inch or something off the edge, but just a smidgen. You don't want to take too much. And the reason you need to do that is because you want this little piece here, which is 8 inches by 2 inches and scored at 2 and 4. You want this little one to fit behind. So we're going to glue it behind. And then these little doors flap over like that. So if you have this one exactly 4 inches wide, you need the folds won't fold over properly. You'll have too much volume in there, too much cardstock, and they won't roll over. So that's why you just take a smidgen off the side. That's a card making term, smidgen, and that makes them fit nice and flat when you fold them over. So as I say, that one is 8 by 2 and it's at 2 and 6. So, and that forms our little double gate there. So the first thing I need to do is basically create the card base. And that is just basically a number of glue, putting some glue on that larger inside panel there and popping it at the back of your big card base there. So just so the ends line up and the doors just fold over like that. You may need to score them a little bit just to make that gap. And you want them to meet in the middle. And then when you bring down the top flat, it'll meet there as well. So you've got like a T of joins there. Okay, so that is fundamentally our card base. And that's sort of how all Dutch double gate cards start. And it's from up to you where you take it from there.
Okay, could you glue it on the inside? Yeah, yeah, you could, Jenny, which is I've seen people do that, but my concerns with that is that when you go to add layers, you end up with a join there. So yeah, it depends, or not a join, but you can end up with a groove because you've got that extra layer of cardstock on the bottom. So yes, you could, and I've done it before when I haven't left enough space, but I find it's neater to have that join on the back rather than on the inside. That's just personal preference. Cool. Okay, so we might as well start layering up. So I've got these pieces of cardstock here. I've given away the next move. So I've got, this is Evening Evergreen, which I think goes beautifully with the soft saffron, and it's actually cut at a 1/4 inch smaller. So it's 5 3/4 by 3 7/8. No, 3 3/4. That makes more sense, doesn't it? 3 3/4 by 5 3/4. So I'm just putting that layer. You wouldn't need the second layer, but I just love that little bit of darker green as a contrast colour. Get these out of the way and then I won't neglectfully cut them or stamp on them or something, which I've been known to do in the past. So we've got a piece of Whisper Basic White. I'm going to never let go of Whisper White. Never forget your first white cardstock. And it's an 1/8 of an inch smaller than the Evening Evergreen. So it would be 5 5/8 by 3 5/8. I find, to be completely honest, sometimes the 1/8ths and the 1/16ths and things get really, really confusing. Just grab yourself a ruler and measure and then sort of deduct what you need to deduct. It makes you quite good at arithmetic in your head, but yeah, so just measure as you go to be safe. So that's what the inside of our card's going to look like, except for I have this little piece of the Designer Series paper, which I've cut 1 inch wide, and it's going to snuggle just into that little bottom, just to bring the colour of the paper into the inside of the card. And I might as well put that in now before I lose it as well. Wouldn't be the first time. So I might actually bring some of the stamps inside as well. As I say, this is for a special birthday girl, so I haven't worked out what sentiment I'm going to put in it yet. Okay, so that's our insides there. So we might as well start looking at the outside, which, let's face it, is the main star of the show. Okay, so for the outside, for the top flat, we've got another layer of Evening Evergreen, and this one is again cut a 1/4 inch smaller than the top flap. I think because I'm just very lucky today, I think this top flat ends up being 4 by 4. Yep, it's 4 by 4. So this next flap down is 3 3/4 square, and I've got the beautiful Designer Series paper from the collection, and that would be 3 5/8 square. So I've got a bit of a quandary here, and I need you guys to help me out. In the original card, I put this lovely gilded paper at the top and the speckly paper at the bottom. Sort of wondering whether I should mix it up a little bit for the second one and put maybe the speckles on top and then the gilded paper at the bottom, or do the gilded paper top and bottom. So whatever you reckon, jump on and say. So it'd be, well, I suppose it's what the options are. Speckles at the top or gold everywhere are the two options I suppose I'm asking you to choose from. I'll just make sure I watch my messages. Let's have a little beep. See what everybody says. Top and bottom the same. So Jenny C reckons we should go gold, top and bottom. I was definitely thinking I would change the bottom to the sort of the gold. So that's probably something I'd already worked out. So I think it's just a matter of whether I put the speckles at the top. And I think you're actually right, Jenny. Let's go gilded on top and bottom because I think Anne agrees. Yep, gold and gold, Robin says. Yeah, you can never have too much gold. Well, sometimes you can. Okay, so let's layer this up as well. So basically, as I say, we've got a 3 3/4 square piece of evening evergreen. I was a little bit disorganized this morning. My eldest son, was outside with his cat, who is an indoor cat all the time generally, and he had him on his little cat lead, which is so cute. Anyway, he was out on his lead and he got bitten by a bee. So we had to perform a bee sting removal this morning. When he came inside, he was a very unhappy little chappy. So we had to find the sting and remove it. And then we've been watching him to see how whether he sort of has any reaction to the bee. But thankfully, he seems to be okay. So that's why. Otherwise, I'd be at the vet and I wouldn't be here doing my video. Okay, so we've done the top there. So these two little doors, basically, as we've cut them, are 2 inches square. So the green for them is 1 3/4. So we've got 2 of those, 1 for each little door. Like that. And like that. I noticed Joan said speckles on the top. Yeah, I was initially thinking that, Joan, although I got, voted down by the majority. But yeah, maybe I'll make another one with speckles on top, because it does get quite busy at the top, as you guys see with the original. Okay, now this card gets quite thick by the time you've got all these layers of cardstock. So I don't go, apart from the wonderful gilded gems, I haven't gone too much with the bulky embellishments. And it's quite a long card, so it's actually a full 6 inches long. So you may need a specialty envelope. No, I haven't even tried it with my envelopes, to be honest. But anyway, so there we are. So we have top and bottom all sort of decorated, as well as our inside. Don't you love that gold? That's just to die for. Okay, so let's get on with the funner a bit. Here's the actual decorating of this little part that's actually sort of acts like a doorstop. I might pop the card itself away and I can show you what I've got here. So I've got somebody can pick this straight away. Anyone who's been watching me for a fair while will know where I picked up this little little box from, this little layer. And you're probably going, oh wow, she's bought out her favourite again. This is actually from the Stitched So Sweetly die set, which thankfully is still current, but I don't know how much longer it'll last. But it is one of my favourites. Did actually love the stamp set that went with it, but it got retired, and thankfully the dies stayed. So this is the smaller, sort of middle size rectangle, and it's 2.5 inches by, say, about 3.5 inches, and it's got this cute little stitching on the inside. So what I've done is cut myself a piece of basic white cardstock so that it snuggles just inside the stitching. I didn't want to cover over the stitching with the white. So that one is, reminding myself, 2 1/8 by 3 1/4. And that just fits beautifully just inside the stitching, so I don't cover it at all. Okay, so that's going to pop just directly on there. Just there. So if you like this little collection, it's the whole thing with the gems and the cardstock and the dies and the stamp set, all retail for $144. But as I say, with the current offer, you could get that. You could get the whole collection plus another, $90 worth of value for only $130 with free delivery. So you're getting the collection for cheaper plus free delivery, and you're getting all that $90 worth of value on top. So it's definitely worth considering if you like this collection. As I say, Stampin' Up! Doesn't mind too much if you get your starter kit, maybe you know, and then pretty much buy nothing else and let it lapse. You just go back straight to being a customer, which is the good thing. There's no penalty for that. If you don't meet your minimum spend, you just drop back to a customer. Okay, so I'm going to be using the stamp set now. I've used this lovely image here, which is just sort of so nice. It's got berries and leaves and little speckles and things. It's really lovely. It's one of our, as you can see, I've given it away. It's one of our sort of instinctive stamps, because with the one stamp you actually get, I've got funny light coming in here at the moment. Everything seems dark. More light that I have coming in, the darker my camera seems to go. It sort of compensates. It's actually got light and dark in the one stamp. So, I mean, I've got that, just the single stamp, and I've got like light bits and dark bits. It's really quite clever the way they do that. But anyway, I've cut that, dyed that, I have stamped that one, and I have fussy cut it. So I didn't want you guys to hang around watching me fussy cut. Life's too short for that, so I've actually done that already. And that's been stamped on white cardstock with Evening Evergreen ink. So what I'm going to do is basically pop that onto our little rectangle that we've got happening there. I'm actually going to put it onto some dimensionals just to give it a bit of height. Not little ones. I hate to say it, but I do not like mini dimensionals. If I can get away with not using them, I'd use big ones any day. Obviously, sometimes you need mini ones, but obviously my hands are too clumpy to use them on a regular basis. Okay, so I'm going to pop a couple of dimensionals on the back of this one. I'm not going to put them right to the edge because I'm going to be slipping some leaves and some foliage and stuff up underneath them. Because I'm not a sort of very good visual thinker, I like to see things while I'm doing them. So yeah, so I need to be able to put, I can't work out like that. I couldn't work out where to put the foliage. I'd actually have to see this in place before I could go there. So I'm just going to pop that just sort of slightly below center, sort of off to the, slightly to the left-hand side. Okay, so that's the start. Now, with the original card, I actually used, there's a little die in this die set that has that little leaf. I'll just bring it out and show you, which I liked. But obviously with one die, one little die like that, I needed to cut out, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 individual leaves, because I've got two in soft succulent and 2 in Evening Evergreen and 2 in gold. So I thought, nah, life's too short to go and cut 6 of those. Well, yeah, 6 of those. So what I've done, and I haven't, this is new, I know you should never change a design midstream. This is also a die out of the set. And it's got, I'll just move that out of the way and get rid of that. It's meant to be used as, obviously as a frame. You can put it on a card like that, put some sentiments and things in the middle. I've seen people layer them up to make a wreath, which is a lovely idea actually. It's sort of really nice. So it's quite big. It's obviously meant for a home decor or a really big card. Sort of make it a wreath like that. But basically in this case, I've just cut one in soft saffron, one in Evening Evergreen, and most of one in gold. I was using a scrap of gold, so I didn't have the whole thing. And I'm going to just cut it up and use it, the individual leaves, as the backing for my little card here, rather than cutting all the individual bits out. So this is something that I worked out in my head this morning. I'm not entirely sure that it's even going to work, but let's give it a go. So it's a matter then of finding the natural bits that you can cut so it doesn't look like you've just, you know, destroyed something that was meant for something else. So where I cut it, I may have to sort of curve it up a bit to make it look a little bit more natural. And then I'm going to pop them, and that's what I was saying about needing to see things in action. That's how I roll. I'm going to pop them in behind just to get that little bit of foliage happening. And so there's quite a lot here. When you think about cutting that up, you could cut one and you'd get, you know, 5 or 6 cards out of that. See, that one's quite big. I'll pop that one. I'll keep that one for later. So I'll do the same with this. I probably want a couple of pieces just for this card. Finding a natural sort of join. And I actually like that a little bit better than the leaf that I used on the original, because it's got more sort of detail to it. It's got gaps, it's got holes, it's got little embossed bits. It just seems more, the little leaf is cute, but it just looks a bit same old all the way around. It's obviously the same leaf. So yeah, that was my thought process. Whereas with this, I can make it look like lots of different leaves, just depending where I cut it. Okay, so I'm going to cut, I want a gold and a green, 2 golds and 2 greens. So I'll do that. And as I say, it leaves you with lots and lots and lots left, so you can use it for the next card. Let's see that one there. Probably should have worked this out before I went live, but as I say, it was just an idea that was forming in my head before. I think it's worked out okay. As I can say, they're all slightly different, and you lose that sort of same old, same old. Let's take that there. Okay, it's quite long. Cut that off there. Put this one up under here. There's a little bit that needs coming out there. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to pop those 2, and then I've got 3 others that I'm going to use down the bottom once I've got the sentiment box in place. So I might just glue those in now, up behind there. So one there. I love this gold. There's nothing quite as special as Stampin' Up! Gold foil. I've tried lots of others because, you know, lots of others are a lot cheaper, but for special cards, it's you can't go past it. It's just so, it's not sort of like a gaudy bling sort of, you know, overly brassy gold. It's just a really classy gold. There you go. Classy, not brassy. Okay, so we've got those 2 there. Okay. Right, so before I put the rest in, I'm going to bring in my sentiment box. So this is also from the die set. It's the cutest sentiment box. See, it's obviously just a straight sentiment box in the middle, and it's got the same sort of theme of these little flowers or leaves and things on either end. And what I'm going to do, because I've got that in the soft succulent, I've also got a 1/2 inch wide strip of cardstock that I'm going to lay in the center there, and I'm actually going to stamp my sentiment on the white and trim it down. So the one that fits perfectly in there is hello there, which sort of covers a whole lot of possibilities just there. You could put hello there, thinking of you, or hello there, happy birthday, or hello there, anything really on the inside. I'm going to start with the hello there. Now it's just smaller than 1/2 inch, so I'm going to have to bring it a bit closer so I can get my head over the top. So excuse me if you lose sight of me for a second. I'm going to pop it there, make sure it's straight. As I say, it is a bit of a squeeze, and I've gone too low. tried to go not too high and I went too low. I'll try again. Apologies about that. That's better. It's a little bit higher. So what I'm going to do for the ends of that is grab my, if I can remember where I put it, my banner punch. Now, this is also in the current catalogue and it's very handy. It's actually 6 banners in one. So you've got the sort of outy banner and the inny banner. I don't know what you'd call it really. And you can get 3 thicknesses of banner in there. So the smaller one is 1/2 inch. So that's the one I'm going to be using here. And then it graduates out. So depending on the size of your cardstock, you use those little guides to push it in. So I'm going to, as I say, use the smallest gauge, and I'm going to use the inny banner. I find it easier to bring it in from the back so I can see what I'm doing. Make sure I've lined it up properly. Which one was it? That one. Okay, so that end's going to be a little bit long. I'll just trim that off. Now see if I can reach it in. And even it up. There we are. Okay, so there's our little sentiment with its bannered ends there. So as I say, I'm going to pop that onto this little cute little die cut. Just there. Just in the centre, sort of centre it up as much as I can. There we are. So we've got that little double banger happening. Okay, so what I'm going to do is pop this onto the card sort of just slightly to the bottom of our little flower arrangement there, and I'm going to bring these little extra ones that I've cut, and I'm going to bring them up and under there like that. That's why I didn't put my obviously didn't put my dimensionals right to the top. And this one's going to be way too long, I think. Oh no, that's not too bad. So it's eventually going to look something like that. But anyway, we can pop it onto our card now and finish it off in situ, so to speak. Okay, so we're going to pop this little sentiment box once now it's finished, or pretty much finished, into the center of our card, taking the whole distance top and bottom. So sort of position it so that it's the same sort of distance from the top of the card and the bottom of the card to the top and bottom of the center of the rectangle, and then it's also the same distance either side. So we're going to put glue only on that top, like top, what, 2/3, because we want the rest of it to sort of dangle free, and that's what causes our little gate to stay open. So I think that's about right. So did we get any other chatties jumping on and saying hello to Nicole? I haven't been watching. I've been too busy creating. Someone else likes the stitch. So yes, Lynn, you and me, Stitch So Sweetly is my favourite. Yeah, cool. Anyway, cool idea. Cool. I'll answer the comments once I'm finished properly. Okay, so we've got that happening there. So what I'm going to do, as I say, is bring our sentiment box over here, and I'm going to pop it with dimensionals again, but obviously because we've got dimensionals in the middle, I'm only going to put a dimensional on either end, just so to give it that height. I'm only going to put them right on the very end, as close to that sort of decorative foliage as I possibly can. I've been quite inspired again by the Dutch double gatefold card. So if you are one of the people who generally do my fun fold class every month, you may find that the next couple of months it gets a bit of a Guernsey. So keep an eye out. Probably not this particular pattern because there's a bit too much stamping for my usual sentiment only class. I usually go pretty much without stamping at all, but yeah, something similar to this will probably pop up fairly soon. So there we are. I have my sentiment box on there as well, just covering over the bottom sort of quarter of our little flower. Okay, so now I'm going to bring these other little bits that I've chopped out of that die cut. Some glue at the bottom of them and tuck them in up under there. So let them up. I don't mind letting them overlap the end a little bit. I think it actually adds to the interest of the card if they look like they're sort of suspended over the edge of the sentiment a little bit. Oh, it doesn't want to go under at all. There's a little bit that needs to come out of there. Come on, you. I don't want to ruin it, but I do want him out. Might be a little bit stuck. I might get him later. Don't want to tempt the gods. Okay, there's a gold bit. The gold bit's gone. Where's the gold bit gone? Eek. Don't tell me I've dropped it. Oh no, it's stuck to my glue. Here we go. And so the last bit is the gold bit that we cut before. We'll pop that in and under there as well. Cool. So this one's nearly done. I'm just going to bring in, which I think is the star of the show, I'm going to bring in my gilded gems. Well, not star of the show, but it makes it much better. Apologies, I'm just reaching for my sentiment folder. Here they are. I'll use those. So I've got my little folder there that I've got all my different sentiments in and stuff. Actually, while I'm here, I might get these out. These are the ones that come with the collection. Aren't they beautiful? So I'll get those out so I've got them ready for the next card. I'll pop that over there. Okay, so here are my one batch of gilded gems. I seem to go through them like nothing else. So I'm going to use the 3 sizes. I'm going to use the large, the medium and the small. Now, you can see here on our little die, on our little stamped image, we've got 3 little, and I might bring it a bit closer, 3 little circles. And there's a large one and a medium one and a relatively small one. So I'm just going to correspond those with the sizes of the gilded gems, just to make them look a little bit natural, as natural as they can anyway. So the big one goes there. The medium one just snuggles next to it there. And then I'll grab a small one. And he's going to pop very close to my sentiment box, but just there. Okay. And I think it's good if you can get your embellishments to fit the natural elements of the stamp. Sometimes it just makes it look like they're meant to be and they just haven't been dumped on sort of as an afterthought because you thought you better put some bling on. So, okay, there is our card, our Dutch gate, double gate fold card for today. I hope you like that one. You give that one a bit of a go. I'd love to see what you come up with yourself. So there's our 2 versions. We've got the one that I made earlier and the one with the slightly different leaves in the background. I think I actually quite like that. I actually as well, apologies, I should have brought it out. On this one, this is the other little sort of little frame that is with the die set. It's just a much smaller one and it just has sort of like little sprays of berries or whatever, buds or whatever. So I've actually done one of those and I've cut that up as well. So you can see they are on that one as well. So I might actually pop some more on there, but I think this one's pretty blingy. I think it's blingy enough. We'll see about that. But anyway, that's another use for that one as well as our others. Okay, so that's card number 1. Hopefully you like that one. As I say, I'd love to see what you come up with. Okay, card number 2 is what I've seen called a double box. And my way of thinking is that box cards are generally sort of look like boxes, but I'll show you where the double box comes into this one. So this is my first version of it. It folds flat like that, as you can see, straight into the envelope. and then it folds out like that, and there you can see where the double box comes from. We've got a narrow box there and a broader box there, and that's basically how it sits up on the shelf when somebody's displaying it proudly, and it sort of looks like that. So it's got some lovely 3D sort of bouncing at you sort of optics happening, and it's got this beautiful sort of front panel that you can decorate. So, and as I say, thank you very much to Gail, if she ever watches my videos, for the measurements of this one that she just popped up. And so I couldn't resist. I think this one probably might make a showing in one of my future classes as well. So watch out for that if you like it. Okay, so let's get started with this one as well. So everything's cut here. Got such a mess. Looks all neat there. You should see over there. It's like some sort of disaster movie. Might just pop those dies away so I don't lose them. What else don't I need? Ouch. Don't need that any. Oh, I do need that. I might chuck that over there. I'll keep my embellishments. Cool. Okay. Fine. Okay. I think I'm sort of organised. Okay. So this is the. Get rid of those. Don't need those either. These are the elements for this little card. Now, there's a lot of bits and pieces here, so if you don't get the measurements straight away, please don't panic. I might pop them up in the comments after a little while as well, so you'll be there. But as I say, grab your ruler out. You can often sort of work these things out as you go once you've got the fundamentals of the first card worked out. So the fundamentals of this one is, this is our first box. You can see this is just a straight piece of cardstock. I think it's 4 1/8 of an inch. So I've gone back to my standard 4 1/8 wide, and it's 9 3/8 long. Now that sounds weird, but the 3/8 is very important because that's what you use down this end to glue your box together. So 9 3/8 long. And so that has been scored at 3/8, as I just mentioned, 1 3/8, so there's an inch between those two, 2 7/8, just trust me, that sounds a bit weird, but it's 2 7/8 and 3 7/8. And that forms a pretty much sort of rectangular box at that end, which is the start of our double box. So what I might do is glue that down first from that little tag. So as I say, that little narrow tag there is where you put your glue. Now, I'm going to use glue, and I would probably suggest if you've got a glue that's got a little bit of wiggle room like our beautiful glue does, that you use that, because you do need to sample fold this one and let it have a little bit of give if it just needs to move a wee bit. Don't know how I'd go if I just had to plonk it down there and hope for the best, but what I will actually do is, it takes a little bit of imagination, going to fold it how it will fold flat and then let the glue take to its natural position. Okay, so the thing with box cards, whether you do them as pop-up box cards or whatever, is to always sample fold as you go, just to give it the chance to find its natural fold. Because if you don't sample fold and you go with what you think's a fair thing, you could find that it's not going to fold flat into your envelope, which is probably sort of makes it a whole wasted effort, doesn't it? So there you are. I've sample folded that and I've forced the glue down. And that's probably the reason I say I wouldn't use sort of like double-sided tape or snail, because you don't get that little bit of wriggle room to start with. So first of all, there you are, we've got our first box. So what I'm going to do is add some designer series paper to the front-facing surfaces of our box. Got to remember which way I cut them, that way. So this is another one from the Eden Collection designer series paper. I'm actually using the plainer of the two sides. So I'm using this one with the sort of little sort of blotchy grid on it. The other side is beautiful, but I think it's a bit too dark for this card. But it is a lovely card, lovely paper. And I think actually if you watched my video last week, I actually used that side on one of my videos last week. This time I'm going to let the less glamorous side have its day. So that one is to go on that front facing panel there, and then I've got a narrower one on that front facing panel there. So this one, because it's 4 1/8 wide, this one would be 3 7/8, I think, by 3 3/4. So 3 7/8 by, 3 3/4. So slightly off square. You could fiddle the width of your card probably if you wanted to make it square, but I like 3 1/8 wide because you get 2 out of a A4 sheet. I'm always about saving the money, saving the cardstock. Okay, so as long as I haven't turned that 90 degrees and got it wrong, that one goes on there. Okay, and then this one would be 1 1/4 wide and 3 7/8 tall. Oh, and the card base again, as I should always say, shouldn't I, is soft succulent, but you probably would have known that because we used it on the last card. And it just goes so beautifully with the paper out of this collection. Okay, so there's our first box. It's pretty simple, but I suppose it's going to be behind everything, so you don't want to really, waste a lot of time decorating something that's going to be hidden too much. So this is the sort of what I think is probably the star of the show here. This is our little front box, our second box that we're making. So this one is, and I've got to remember, 5 1/8 long and 3 1/8 wide. And I've scored it at 3/8 and 1 3/8. So you're just getting a sort of a L sort of shaped bracket here. Okay, so that one's going to pop that way on our card. And again, we're going to sample fold it. So to go on that, now I might add these before I assemble the card. We've got another layer of soft succulent, which is 1/8 of an inch smaller than that front facing part. And then another piece of white, which is going to go on top of the succulent, just to give it a little border of colour. And this is the one that we're going to decorate on. So let's do it. Let's just do I'll put the card base aside for a second, and I might keep this one out. Okay, so let's layer up with just making sure I do it right, the order right. We'll layer up and put the soft succulent on first. And as I say, don't worry too much about the measurements. There's so many little bits and pieces to this one. I'll write a list. Might not be today because I've got card kits to do and videos to record, but I'll do it by the end of the weekend, I promise. And as I say, if you pop over to Gail Ellis's blog, she has all the measurements there as well. She fundamentally did the same card. Oh, I've also got another little, and she did it first, another little skinny panel of soft succulent and white here that I'm going to pop in that little spine, because that is sort of like, not front facing, but it will be on display when your card is on display by its lucky, proud recipient. And another piece of white. I'm just going to add this piece of white straight away because I'm not going to emboss it. I am going to emboss the bigger one. Okay, so that one there. I'm making sure I'm putting it on the right surface. There'd be nothing worse than to decorate the wrong side. Okay, so this one here, the one that's going to be at the front, I'm going to emboss it with, and hopefully she hasn't popped it away so she'll never find it again, the eek. Where did I put it? I'm going to give my baby cut and emboss a bit of a whirl, because I'm going to be using this greenery embossing folder, which is made specially for our mini machines. You can obviously, you don't need a mini machine to use this particular one. You can use it in your big shot or your big standard cut and emboss if you want. But I thought I always like to bring my baby out for a bit of a run now and then. Oh, if I've got the right plate handy. Where's the right plate? Sorry, I've put my plates away for my baby embossing machine and I don't know where I've put them. There's an embossing plate. Eek. Oh dear. I might not be able to use my baby after all. I've put the plates somewhere, or they've fallen off the side of the bench or something. That's entirely possible as well. Okay, sorry baby, you have to go. I'm going to have to use my big machine to do it. But anyway, baby is cute, but she can't, if I can't find the plates, I can't use her. I'll pop you away. So I'm just going to pop to my big machine, which is off camera, and I'll emboss that. So basically I've just got that in the embossing folder like that. I'll show you in a sec. Best laid plans on a Saturday morning. Okay. Wonder where those plates are. They're usually in the drawer. Just forgive me while I pop that through. Done. So because it's not a huge piece of cardstock, I've just positioned it so that I've got the top of the embossing folder done, not both. Obviously this one's got patterns on top and bottom, so I've just done the top just to get the smaller piece of cardstock. Okay, so what I'm going to do is bring that in, and I'm going to pop it so that the leaves look like they're coming up the side rather than hanging from the top. So let's just do that. We'll pop that in with some glue. Oh, stop, Julianne, stop. Okay, forgot this bit. There's always something I forget, isn't there? This is another die from the die set. It would be best if I put it against a dark surface so you can see. It's a sort of an edging die. It's really lovely. It's got those same sort of berries and leaves and things, and a lovely stitch. So I've run it through the full length. It's about 6 inches long, with a piece of cardstock. A piece of the designer series paper. What I thought I would do is trim it to size and pop it behind. I was going to pop it between the two. Obviously I've put the glue on now, so I'm going to have to be a little bit careful. So I'm going to pop it behind. Now, which way was I going to do it? That way. That way. I'm going to pop it just there. Make sure I've got some glue. Now I'm going to get myself terribly, terribly mucky. So pop some glue on there. Grab that. Would have been better if I hadn't put the glue on before it was happening. Anyway, live crafting. Actually, I could have put it on there, couldn't I? That would have been better. Okay, but I wanted to trim it to the same length as this white panel, so I'm just going to pop that on there, bring in my scissors and just trim it off straight. There we are. And then pop some more glue on. Bring it in on the other side. That way. Yep, oh, sticking to me now. In there. And trim that off as well, just straight with the paper. There we are. There we are. So that's going to sort of sneak out the side of our little decorated box. So now I can pop a bit more glue on those edges because they've not got any glue on them. Freshen it up a bit, and now I will pop it back onto the card base. Okay, there, top and bottom, and there. Okay, sorry I made that a little bit more complicated than it was supposed to be. I probably should have layered it up first, but so basically we've got our soft succulent layer, our white layer, and sandwiched between it we've got the two little edges as well. It looks quite nice, doesn't it? I really like that. Okay, so let's get this assembled. I think we can assemble now without too many issues. So again, we're going to have some glue on this little tag here, just like that. We're also going to need some glue where it actually hits this other, box. So that's going to be, you probably don't need very much, but it's going to be hard up, pretty much hard up on that end, there like that. Okay, so just on that end. So on your little tag and on that end. And again, we're going to always sample fold our cards. So put it in position. It's going to close up like that. Same top and bottom. Don't want it to overlap the edge too much at that end anyway. Good thing with the grid, you can line it up with the grid and you know that you're straight. And then when you open it up, oh, I hadn't actually forced down the bit where the glue was. Sort of make sure I've left that straight. I don't think I have. So firm it down where the glue is on that little tag that you've popped, and then it should, if I've done it correctly, it'll open up like that, and everything's in the right position to fold flat. Okay, so there we are. So that's the second box. That's a little bit fiddly, and look, honestly, I did one pretty much completely before I got it right. So practice maybe with some cardstock and stuff you don't like too much. We've got spare, some scraps, and get that right. But yeah, as I say, with box cards, it's best to sample fold them as you go. Or you'll end up with the most beautiful card and you're so happy with it, but you can't get it into an envelope. I suppose you could make a box for it. If you couldn't fold it, you could just make a box for your box. Sorry, I'm just trying to find my glue rubber because I've got some glue splodges. Oh, I can't find my glue rubber. Oh, that one will do. Hate glue splodges. Especially where I don't want anything. This one's not too bad. I'm going to cover that over anyway, but I don't like glue splodges. Cool. Okay, so there we are. So that's the box pretty much all done. So let's do the decorating of it. Again, I have the beautiful image that from the stamp set, and I've already cut it and stamped it and die cut it. So this one's going to go just there, and because I'm not going to worry too much about putting gems on those little berries, I'm going to just, doesn't matter too much if they're covered with the sentiment. So I'm just going to pop some glue on the back of those, not on the back of that, and pop it there on the card front. There we are. Okay, so then I've got our little sentiment. It's not even a sentiment box, is it? It's more of a sentiment backing. This time I've done it in gold. A bit of a trick, bit of a giveaway there. I was trying to save gold cardstock because it's just so, well, it's expensive. Let's face it. We'll call a spade a spade. Gold foil is expensive, and it didn't have enough in the current sheet just to do it as a whole piece. So I cut it at 2 pieces, and I've just popped a bit of tape on the back to put them in the right position. Now the thing is, with this card, it doesn't matter too much because what I'm going to do is I've got a very skinny piece of the cardstock, and I'm just going to lay it across there anyway. So that was part of the design. So it didn't really matter if there's a little join in the middle because I'm actually covering it over anyway. So that's my cardstock saving hint of the day. Seams can be covered, I suppose, is what the tip of the day is. I'm going to pop that on there like that. And only you, me, and the 30 other people watching this video will know that I've done that. There you go. Okay, so I'm going to pop this one onto the card base. And it's not really going to be for a sentiment, this one. It's just because it's just as a highlight because it's so pretty. It's just using it just as an element rather than a sentiment box. I'm going to try and find some dimensionals. Here we go. So I'm going to pop it on dimensionals nonetheless. I'm going to pop at either end, and then just to reinforce my little join a bit, I'll pop one over there as well. Okay, so I'm just going to pop that, as I say, just over there. Try not to overlap the edge too much and cover over our lovely embossing too much, but towards the bottom. There we are. Okay, so where I am going to stamp the sentiment is this little tag I have here. I've already tied the ribbon, so you don't have to live through the excruciating pain of watching me tie a ribbon. So I'm going to actually pop this on here separate to the little gold die cut, and I'm going to stamp our sentiment on there. So there's a really cute little sentiment in the pack, which is, "Dear friend, how are you?" And obviously, if we have dear friends, we need to catch up and make sure they're okay, especially at the moment with everything happening in the world. So I think that's a perfect sentiment. I'm just a bit slack, didn't clean off that one. That's not a good example. So I've got, "Dear friend, how are you?" Again, I'm going to use the Evening Evergreen, even though I haven't used it much in this card. It's a lovely deep green, which seems to match the soft succulent so well. Hopefully I can stamp it even though I've got the ribbon there. That might have not been a good thinking ahead. "Dear friend." I haven't put the sticker on this one yet. You can see how new it is. So it's potluck. Hopefully it'll be sort of straight. "Dear friend, how are you?" There, I definitely should have put the sticker on that. Okay, there we are. So that's sweet, isn't it? And that is the soft succulent ribbon that I've used there. That's from the In Colour ribbons, because these are both our In Colour ribbons. If you like that, I'd suggest you pop on and add it to your next order. It's good. There's one for all of our colours, which is really nice. So I'm going to pop that on there as well. I'm going to match it with some dimensionals, but obviously not just on the top half, because we don't want dimensional build up. Because it's going to overlap the other one to some degree, and then I'll pop some glue. Pop some glue everywhere, basically. Pop some glue along the bottom. Again, lining that up with our very handy grid. There we are. Don't know that you'd need the ribbon. I just really like that colour ribbon, so I just didn't think it was quite a tag without something on the taggy end. It sort of needed something. Maybe just as a loop of ribbon might have been less obtrusive. But anyway, there we are. I quite like the ribbon. Okay, so that's the sentiment done. The only thing to do now, and hopefully I bought them out so I'd have them handy. I haven't totally lost them. I'm going to use the gems. Oh Lord, where'd I put the gems? Really am sometimes the most disorganized person. Here they are. Now, I love these gems. They are glorious. They are just, you'd expect them in a diamond ring or something. I love these sort of, what shape would that be? I don't know. Teardrop? No, it's not a teardrop. But anyway, little eyes. They're like little eyes glittering at you. I love them, but I haven't quite worked out what to do with them yet. I tried yesterday to pop them onto this card, and they just didn't go. They need to be a highlight themselves. So I'm just going to stick to the little round ones. If anyone finds any good videos or Pinterest posts or something that uses these ones, please let me know, because I'm desperate to use them, but I don't want to put them on and make them look. They need to look like they're a natural part of the card, and I haven't quite managed to do it. They either stick out or just don't fit where I've tried to use them before, but these ones are lovely too. A slightly darker colour, which is nice. I'll put a couple of big ones, and then I'll bring in a nice little one here. In my triangle configuration, as a lovely lady just once said to me, put them in a triangle. I think Jan was here. There we are. So that's our double box card. I really like that. I think it's actually really enhanced by that white embossing behind. It just adds that little extra bit of interest. And I love those colours as well. Okay, so there's my original one, and here's my original one and the one we did today. You can tell with the original one I used the darker Designer Series paper as the little border down the side. I actually think I thought at the time it was a bit dark. So I think I actually like the lighter one. So so yes, I think I like the lighter one. I'm happier with that than the original. So there you are. I've improved on the original. And here is our, oh gosh, sorry, one more thing with our double box card. I realised that there's nowhere to write. You wouldn't write on the front. It would break your heart. So I did cut a nice large, again, So Sentimental, or stitched So Sweetly sentiment box. And for the back, for your personal message. No point having these things as beautiful works of art if you can't actually give them to somebody and have them know who you are. So I'll pop that on the back. So I don't know whether my birthday friend will get this one or the other one. We'll see. So this one folds flat like that. So it'll sit into your envelope flat like that. Okay, cool. So that one is done now. So we've done our two today. We've done our double box and our Dutch double gate, and we're all done. Okay, so as I mentioned, this is the Eden's Garden collection. Comes with a stamp set and the dies, which will be back in the next mini catalogue. But if you buy them now or while stocks last, you get in the collection, you get the stamps, the dies, the gems, the paper. Oh, and the cotton paper, something I totally forgot. There's some sheets of, I used them last time, 4 sheets of this beautiful, beautiful cotton look paper. It's almost like tissue paper, but it's, you know, it's lovely. So it's definitely worth looking at the collection and getting all the extra bits while they are still available. And as I say, add it to your starter kit at the moment and you can get the collection plus $90 worth of extra goodies for only $130. So, you know, you're saving on the bundle alone. Anyway, okay, if you have any questions about anything you've seen today, any of the products, they're all current products. If you'd like to reach out and grab a catalogue or just chat to me about Stampin' Up, please do so. But anyway, it's been lovely spending some time with you this morning. Please have a great day and take care, and I'll see you all next time. Bye.